Have you ever walked past a grave so weathered by time that the name has vanished beneath a shroud of frozen moss? I am standing in a centuries-old cemetery at the base of the Swiss Alps, where the jagged, snow-capped peaks of Interlaken cast long, haunting shadows over rows of silent stone. 6 months ago, my world fractured when I lost my wife. Today, I am here in the dead of night, not to mourn, but to find a reason to breathe again. Equipped with professional restoration tools and a headlamp that pierces the mountain fog, I've chosen this witching hour to wake a memory that has been sleeping for over 100 years. Why here? Why now? Because every grave represents a life once lived, and seeing a human legacy erased by orange peel, lichen, and alpine grime feels like losing them a second time. Beside me, Buster, my golden retriever, senses the heavy stillness of the valley. He isn't just a pet. He is my anchor to the living world as I prepare to scrub away decades of neglect. We aren't just cleaning stone. We are embarking on a 3-hour journey to uncover a secret identity buried by the elements. After 30 years of anonymity, what name is waiting to step back into the light? Let's find out if a little kindness can bridge the gap between the living and the dead. The air biting at my skin is a constant reminder of the alpine altitude, but the real challenge lies beneath my knees. As I begin, the beam of my headlamp catches the glint of dozens of spiders weaving webs across the granite, their tiny movements making my heart skip a beat in the eerie silence. This isn't just a surface clean. I'm facing orange peel lichen, a calcified, rust-like growth that has gripped the memorial stone of someone named Alberto for decades. I have to use every ounce of my strength, sometimes leaning my old back into the scrub. So to break through the hardened earth, precision is everything in restoration. I switch from heavy-duty scrapers to a tiny toothbrush to ensure not a single millimeter of grime remains in the delicate engravings. Suddenly, Buster growls at the darkness. A strange rustling comes from the thicket, and in a moment of sheer panic, I realize I've lost my tool bag in the shadows. In a midnight cemetery, every plot looks identical, and for a terrifying minute, I feel truly lost. To speed up the process before the sun rises, I experiment with a high-pressure mix of hydrogen peroxide and dish soap. A massive mountain of foam erupts, nearly swallowing a moss-covered cross, but it works. The deep-seated stains finally vanish. After 3 hours of backbreaking labor, the first letters emerge under the rinse water like a forgotten book opening its pages. I'm not just cleaning, I'm restoring dignity to a soul whose story was almost erased. And as the first shards of golden light pierce through the jagged peaks of the Eiger, the once blackened mud-caked stone of Maria Lugo Texidor begins to glow like a beacon under the morning sun. After 3 hours of pouring sweat and battling a numb back, the transformation is staggering. The tomb is now polished and gleaming, reflecting the alpine sky. Seeing this forgotten resting place shine again brings a strange, overwhelming warmth to my chest. A feeling of peace I haven't felt in 6 months. Beside me, Buster lets out a soft huff of approval, sensing the shift from a place of cold neglect to one of profound dignity. The lesson here is clear. Kindness doesn't require an audience or a reward. By caring for a stranger like Adalberto or Ismael, we affirm that no one is ever truly forgotten as long as someone is willing to remember. These small acts of kindness, armed with nothing but a spray bottle, a brush, and a sincere heart, have the power to change the face of a tiny corner of the world. We don't need to be heroes to make an impact. We just need to be the light in the darkest places. Every grave is a life, and every gesture is a tribute. As the sunlight radiates through my heart, I realize that life is beautiful, and we must live every moment worthy of those who came before us. The crisp alpine morning air carries a profound sense of closure as I stand back to witness the result of our labor. The connection between generations is no longer a theoretical concept. It is etched in the sparkling clean marble that once looked like a discarded rock. Even though I never knew these people in life, tending to their final resting place is my way of asserting a powerful truth. No one is ever truly forgotten on this earth if we choose to care. This journey has taught me the immense value of perseverance. 3 hours of sweat and a numb back was a small price to pay for the serenity and dignity restored to a wandering soul. It's a reminder that kindness often requires real effort and physical labor, not just empty words or social media platitudes. Witnessing the sheer destruction that time and neglect had wrought upon these stones, I've come to realize that life is incredibly beautiful and fragile. We must live in a way that is worthy of every fleeting moment we are given. As I pack my tools and whistle for Buster, I look at the graves of Maria and Alberto one last time. They are no longer anonymous shadows, but bright beacons of history. Don't wait for someone to ask for help before you offer your hand. Be the light, even in the darkest, most forgotten corners of the world. Every grave is a story, and every small action is a tribute. Are you willing to be the one who keeps the flame alive for memories that are about to fade? As I walk toward the cemetery exit with Buster, I notice Sam, the weary groundskeeper, arriving for his early shift. His eyes widen in disbelief as he spots the four gleaming monuments standing like polished diamonds amidst the gray morning mist. I didn't do this for a thank you, but seeing the heavy burden lift from his shoulders is a reward far greater than any recognition. This is the essence of unconditional kindness, performing a service for someone, whether they are living like Sam or have long since passed, without expecting anything in return. It's a testament to the fact that you don't need to be a hero to impact your community. Sometimes all it takes is a spray bottle, a brush, and a sincere heart to change the face of the world. Looking back at the graves of Adalberto and Ismael, I realized that cleaning stone is actually about restoring human dignity. Each name I uncovered represents a life that once breathed, loved, and contributed to the story of these mountains. By preserving these graves, we protect the identity of those who no longer have family to care for them. My fear of the dark and the witching hour has been replaced by a deep sense of internal peace. Do not wait for a formal invitation to be helpful. Be the light in the shadows, and remember that every small act of kindness is a flame that keeps a memory from fading forever. Standing at the threshold of this sacred ground, I feel a profound shift in my perspective on time. The physical act of restoration has transformed into a spiritual dialogue between the past and the present. As I look at the now pristine marble, I am reminded that these are not just stones. They are the final chapters of lived experiences that deserve to be read with respect. In our fast-paced modern world, we often forget that our current comforts are built upon the foundations laid by those who came before us, like Maria Lugo Texador. Choosing to spend my night laboring over a stranger's grave is my way of acknowledging that no life is truly insignificant. It is a silent promise that as long as there are people willing to pick up a brush, no story will be completely erased by the encroaching moss of history. This experience has taught me that the ghosts we fear in cemeteries are often just our own anxieties about being forgotten. By facing the darkness and the biting cold of the Alps, I have reclaimed a sense of agency over my own grief. True kindness is a labor of love that requires us to get our hands dirty and our backs sore for the sake of another's dignity. As the morning light continues to reveal the intricate beauty of the cemetery, I hope my actions inspire you to look around your own neighborhood. Is there a faded memory near you that needs a bit of light? Don't wait for a sign or a request. Take the initiative to be the guardian of a legacy, for in honoring the dead, we truly learn how to cherish the living. As the sun climbs higher over the Alps, I notice something unusual wedged deep within a crevice of the stone I just finished polishing. At first, I thought it was just more debris or a stubborn root, but as I carefully use my smallest restoration brush to clear the area, a metallic glint catches the light. It is an old rusted locket, partially fused to the base of the grave by decades of ice and soil. My heart races as I gently pry it loose, realizing that this wasn't just a grave. It was a vessel for a secret. When it finally pops open, I see a faded, water-stained photograph of a young woman standing in a field of edelweiss, in her smile frozen in a time before the world forgot her name. This discovery changes everything. It turns a chore into a profound historical mystery. I realize that every grave is a story, and sometimes those stories leave behind physical echoes that demand to be heard. This locket is a reminder that the people buried here had loves, fears, and precious moments just like we do today. It makes the 3 hours of backbreaking labor feel like a privilege rather than a burden. And I carefully place the locket back in a safe, dry hollow of the monument, ensuring it remains part of the history I just woke up. We must realize that life is beautiful, and by preserving these small artifacts of the past, we are actually preserving our own humanity. As I stare at the tiny photograph in the locket, the field of edelweiss blurs before my eyes. In this cold alpine silence, the distance between me and the woman in the photo, and the distance between me and my late wife, seems to vanish. 6 months ago, my world went dark, and I thought the only way to survive was to bury my own memories. But looking at this restored grave, I realized that grief isn't a hole you fall into. It's a landscape you learn to navigate. Buster rests his heavy head on my knee, his honest intuition sensing the waves of sorrow and healing crashing over me. And I whisper my wife's name into the wind, finally understanding that by waking up the memories of strangers like Maria and Alberto, I am actually keeping her light alive too. The backbreaking labor of the last few hours suddenly feels like a physical manifestation of my love. Every scrub of the brush was a way to fight back against the oblivion that threatened to swallow everything I held dear. I realized that life is truly beautiful, and we must live in a way that honors every moment we are given. This journey isn't just about cleaning stone, it's about the warmth in my chest that comes from knowing that love is the only thing time cannot erode. As I look at the mountains, I make a silent promise to her. I will continue to be the light in the shadows, for her, and for those who have no one left to remember them. As I finish packing my restoration kit, the sound of gravel crunching behind me makes Buster's ears perk up instantly. An elderly woman, draped in a heavy wool shawl, approaches with a bouquet of fresh edelweiss. Her eyes widen as they land on the gleaming monument of Maria Lugo Texidor, which just hours ago was a forgotten mound of roe fong, moss, and reset, rust. She gasps, her hand flying to her heart as she sees the name of her grandmother shining clearly for the first time in decades. And this is the surprise I never expected, a living link to the history I just uncovered. She explains that she had traveled from a distant village, fearing she would never find the site again because the vocam, orange peel lichen, had swallowed the identity of her ancestors. The warmth in my chest is now an overwhelming fire of purpose. Seeing her tears of gratitude, I realize that my back-breaking labor and numb back served a much larger plan. This encounter confirms that kindness is never wasted. It is a bridge between generations that reaffirms no one is ever truly forgotten. My 3-hour journey into the midnight shadows was a silent promise, kept not just to the dead, but to the living who still carry their stories. As we stand together under the alpine sun, I understand that life is truly beautiful because of these small, unscripted moments of human connection. As I prepare to leave this sacred alpine ground, the sight of the elderly woman kneeling by the gleaming grave of her grandmother reminds me that every minute of sweat was worth it. The 3-hour journey into the dark was never just about cleaning stone. It was about the connection between generations and ensuring that no one is ever completely forgotten on this earth. I look at Buster, who has been my anchor to the living world throughout this emotional restoration. We came here seeking a way to heal from my own grief, and in the process, we restored dignity to those who could no longer speak for themselves. The warmth in my chest is now a permanent glow, a realization that even in the most dark and forgotten corners of the world, a single act of kindness can act as a beacon. My final message to you is simple. Don't wait for someone to ask for help before you offer your heart. Whether it's a faded memory in a local cemetery or a neighbor in need, be the light that keeps the shadows at bay. One life is truly beautiful, and we must live every fleeting moment in a way that honors those who paved the way before us. As the sun fully illuminates the Swiss peaks, I leave with a silent promise to keep being the guardian of these stories. Every grave is a life, and every small action is a tribute. Are you willing to be the one who keeps the flame alive for a memory that is about to fade? The journey of restoring these forgotten monuments teaches us that while time may erode stone, it cannot diminish the inherent dignity of a human soul. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once noted, the memory of everything is very soon overwhelmed in time, yet our deliberate actions of kindness serve as a rebellion against this oblivion. By laboring in the silence of the night to honor strangers like Maria Lugo Texidor, we learn that true virtue requires no audience. It is found in the warmth in the chest that comes from selfless service. When this practice of memento mori, reminding ourselves of the fragility of life, does not lead to despair, but to a deeper appreciation that life is truly beautiful. We must embrace our responsibility as the bridge between generations, ensuring that no one is completely forgotten on this earth. Let this be your call to be the light in the darkest corners, honoring the past to find healing in the present. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to join our mission of keeping these memories alive.